what's going on, everybody? Welcome back once again. It's me, MOLT. Super stoked to be here with you guys today. I've got a really fun video planned for y'all that I hope y'all are excited about. One of my favorite things when it comes to just the gaming industry as a whole is thinking of new ideas, thinking of things that can be implemented and used within games. I've done that a whole bunch with Clash Royale, and a lot of my ideas actually have been put into play in Clash Royale. Some of the things that I came up with have been used to create characters like the Bandit and the Miner, and the Ram Rider and things like that. So it's been really cool to see some of my ideas that I've shared be mixed with other people's ideas and then turn into actual cards within the game. And I would really love to know some of y'all's ideas down below as well, because as a community, we have a cool opportunity to share ideas with the team over at Supercell on the Brawl Stars team. We have a cool opportunity to be able to share things with them that maybe their minds don't think about. You know, all of our minds are created differently, and all of us can kind of come up with different things that we think would work as brawlers being implemented into the game. So I would love for you guys to comment some of your ideas down below. Be thorough in them, because I think that really adds to it. Don't just say like, oh, I think it'd be cool if there was a cat in the game. You know, like talk about the attacks, talk about the super, talk about things like that. It's always really fun. But as I'm doing this, there's going to be some gameplay up above of some gym grab matches, a showdown match at the end, etc., etc. So let's go ahead and hop into it. My first idea, because we already have a couple of animals in the game. We have Crow, who is an animal, obviously. We have Leon, who's kind of a chameleon, but it's a little boy wearing a chameleon suit. We have Nita's bear. Spike is kind of like an animal. Obviously, he's not an animal. I know that. But Spike is kind of like, I don't know. Since he's a plant, he's kind of in that kingdom of nature, etc. So I think that warrants a lot of opportunities for us to come up with really cool animal ideas to implement into the game. So the first of my ideas that I'm really excited about is a gopher. Like a short little gopher. It could be somebody dressed up in a costume, but I think it could also just be a furry little gopher. I think that it would, I can picture it in the style of Brawl Stars and in the art style that they do, and I can just see it really, really working well. So here's how the gopher would work. Its attack would not be like Frank's or Nita's. Both Frank and Nita kind of move the ground, and anything in between point A and point B of their attack will take damage. The Gopher would be a little bit different. He would almost be like Dynamite or Barley, to where if they throw it over you, it doesn't deal any damage. And that would be kind of what the Gopher does. So whether it hits the ground or whatever it may be, it has a circle that goes down underneath the ground and does damage. Maybe it shoots up some rock or whatever it may be, but it goes underneath the ground and attacks people in a sphere. Just like if you were to throw Dynamite's bomb on 3 people, it would do damage to all of them. Same with Barley. If you tag somebody with it, it does damage. So the Gopher would hit the ground, whatever it may be, and it would go underneath the ground and pop up on the player that you were attacking. Now, obviously, the team would have to come up with some way to make that visual so that you could try and dodge it. Whether I don't really know how it could be. It could be like a little bit of dirt moving and then a lot of dirt wherever it comes up. That would be the Gopher. And the Gopher's super attack, I think, is really, really cool. So the Gopher would kind of jump up into the air and dive into the ground, and where it goes into the ground, obviously it would make like a hole with like a mound of dirt around it. Like if you see a gopher or a mouse or anything like that dig into the hole, you know how their holes would look. It would go down and then it would come up wherever you aimed it. So just like with Spike's ability or anything like that, there would be a radius where the gopher goes down underneath the ground, pops up, shooting people into the air, just like what Dynamite's bomb does and what Bo's bombs do. So they already have that effect implemented in the game where something bounces when it is hit. So he would go underneath the ground, come up, hit people, rocks would go everywhere. It would knock them back, maybe a tile, maybe 2 tiles, whatever it may be. I just think that'd be really cool. So that's one of my first ideas is the Gopher. I think he'd be amazing, and I think it'd be really cool to see what the team could do with it. My favorite idea I'm saving for last. But my next idea is a kangaroo. A lot of these are animalistic in a sense, but yeah. So the next idea would be a kangaroo. and it would throw a boomerang. It wouldn't be like the Executioner in Clash Royale. I know a lot of you guys, when you initially think of that, you think of, oh, the Executioner throws something that comes back to it. But the Executioner attacks in a straight line. I think it'd be really cool if the Kangaroo actually threw a boomerang in the sense that it threw a circle. So if you see one player right here and one player right here, you aim at this one and it goes around in a circle and hits. Obviously, they would handle the damage that it does and make sure that it isn't overpowered or anything of that sort. I think that'd be a really cool mechanic, and I think that there would be somewhat of a skill cap on it. Not a skill cap, but I think that it would take a good bit of skill to be able to make that circle be as effective as possible. Hitting more than just one person with it. I think that'd be really cool. So maybe the initial line is like a line, and then once it hits that person, it kind of curves around and comes back, throws it again. And I just think that a Kangaroo would be perfect throwing a boomerang. And then its ultimate or its super would be something along the same lines, but maybe it stuns when it hits. For a second or something along those lines, kind of like how when you hit somebody with Shelly, it stuns, and then if you have the star power, you're slowed for just a little bit. So that would be the same thing with this. Maybe for each person that it hits, it slows them, or it stuns them initially and then slows them, whatever it may be. And it wouldn't be like Jesse, how Jesse hits something and then it ricochets and then it ricochets. It wouldn't be like that in the sense that it would seek out its targets. It would have its circle, and it would stick to that. So as you're playing and as you're getting good at it, you hit things in that circular area. And I think that would just be really cool to see in the game. I think it'd be a really sweet mechanic. Now, here, this is my favorite idea of all of them. I hope that you guys are still here watching. But my final idea, which I'm really excited about, would be a snake charmer. So we already have Poco, who plays an instrument, and he strums and it shoots out musical notes. Now I think that it would be awesome if there was a snake charmer who maybe hovered above the ground, I don't know, kind of like a genie, something along those lines. And he plays a flute, like what he charms with, but the flute could say, I don't know, shoot darts like the Dart Goblin. But obviously it would be a little bit different because it would be shooting musical notes, and maybe it has somewhat of a, like Poco's arc is like this, maybe its arc is like this, like the thinnest of all arcs. So it isn't like Crow or Tara or Poco or anything who has a really wide angle. It's very narrow because he is playing a flute and it's very directional. And so obviously with that flute comes darts and musical notes, other things like that. I think that could be really, really awesome. And obviously we already have Nita, who spawns a bear. We have other brawlers like Jesse and like Penny, who put down turrets, and like Pam, who puts down a turret as well. So we have things that deploy something onto the field that stays. Same with Tara. Tara's ultimate, whenever she uses it, it'll spawn the little mirrored image of Tara that ends up fighting for you. So the same thing would go for the snake charmer, except it would spawn a snake. That's right. So the snake charmer would spawn a snake, and then that will also lead to implementing something else that's already in the game, which is poison from Crow. Crow is one of the only brawlers that has a poisonous damage dealing thing over time. Obviously with Brock and with Barley, if you're standing in the place where the rocket lands, or if you're standing where Barley hits and there's that extra poison, obviously that's kind of a poison effect. But with the snake, it would be just like Crow, in the sense that it would shoot out its venom, or it would shoot out its poison, and it would be a dot, or damage over time. So it would damage them for however long it would be, and then if it shoots again, it does that. Also, the one thing about Nita that we see is that her bear is melee. So it has to be up close and personal. It can be taken out by anyone of range without even getting to them. But the thing about the snake charmer spawns is that it would shoot a distance. Maybe it would be as far as Tara, not as far as someone like Brock or Piper, anyone like that. It would shoot in the sense of maybe 5 tiles, something like that, and it would deal damage in that area. So those are 3 of my ideas lately that I've come up with. I have a lot of other ones that are kind of working in my head, but they're not fully finished, if you will. So again, I would love for you guys to comment down below any of your ideas. Again, we have such a cool opportunity to share ideas with Supercell. Anything that you guys share down below, I can read the comments, and if they're good ideas, I can screenshot it and pass it along to the team. Brawl Stars is all about listening to the community and keeping this as a community-based game, and I can only just imagine how cool it would be. I mean, I know how it feels to have some of my ideas implemented into a game like Clash Royale, and so it's really cool to be able to give you guys that opportunity as well, maybe, depending on what you come up with, if it is a really good, polished idea that they can put into the game. Obviously, you could say, I want it to be a cat who does this, and they're like, okay, I don't like the cat idea, but I like the mechanics that you came up with. We're going to put that on a buffalo, or something along those lines. So, again, hope you guys really enjoyed the video. Let me know your ideas down below. I love you guys. I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.